After 2 days of demolition, we've had a day and a half of work done by our contractors on the kitchen. I'll take you through it, and as usual, we'll start with the bottom, go up the walls and into the ceiling. Starting from the bottom, we can see that the original diagonal subfloor has been screwed into the joists underneath. You see this row of screws. We know these are screws. Firstly, we asked for them, but also you can see the additional screws that haven't got to yet over here and the driver that they used. This screwing in provides additional stability and also reduces floor squeak, which you probably heard in the first video. For the subfloor on top of this, we had a choice of using 3/4 inch or 5/8 inch plywood. And you can see the plywood that our contractor chose has this nice tongue and groove connection on the sides, and that will get you a nice tight floor. We had the choice of using a 3/4 inch ply or 5/8 inch plywood for the subfloor. Upstairs, when we redid the floors, we went with 3/4 of an inch, and that gives us a super quiet, super stable floor. We went with a 5/8 inch plywood floor here for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we're putting another membrane on top of this, and then we're putting the flooring, and those three materials would have given us quite a lot of height, which would have been a problem for the transition into the next room and also the top stair. The set of stairs leading from the kitchen down to the basement. The top piece here, the tread has been removed, but you can see that it just goes down from there, and it's a little bit of an awkward turn. If we had done a 3/4 inch plus the other two materials, it would have made the riser much higher than code and would have been a trip hazard. So you want your stairs ideally to be less than 8 inches. Our stairs are 7 7/8 inches every riser going down. With the subfloor, the membrane, and the new floor, that would have put it over 7 inches, or sorry, 8 inches. So we're going to have to adjust the stairs going down and add a little bit of height to each of the stairs starting at the bottom so that you don't trip on this step coming up. The other place where the difference in height would have been a problem is over here and in the front hall where we're transitioning to the old floor. You can see that this is the old floor. There's the hinge for our swing door. Ideally, you see the transition going underneath the door so that each room sees their respective material and not the material from the other room. And because of this height difference, it's going to be tricky. We probably will have to commit to having something peek over or maybe change the door. But this is one of the transitions that led us to choosing 5/8 inch for the plywood subfloor. Let's follow the floor right across to the exterior wall. And so now we have a floor that goes all the way to the exterior wall, which we didn't have before, and that was part of the reason there was a draft on our feet. There's still a good amount of breeze on my hand coming through the wall, but this will be fixed when we insulate. Pulling out from the floor to the framing, I'll show you this framing. The important thing to remember about this framing, so you don't panic, is that it's not holding up the house. We have a double brick exterior, and that's what's holding up the house, holding up the joists and so forth. So the purpose of this framing is to hold up drywall, cabinets, electrical, and so forth. So it's not providing any structure to the house. This new framing was done with 2x4s. And I'm going to show you the width of this 2x4 here. It's about 2 fingers. Third one is definitely hanging off. Versus the wood and the framing that's in the existing old wall. And it's a solid 3 fingers. Both are considered 2x4s of their time. The new 2x4s are nominally 2x4s, but in practice they're less. This older wood is literally 2x4, and this is something that's changed over time. With the framing in, they brought in an electrician who did a solid day's worth of work. This is called the rough in. So a lot of wire has been pulled from the fuse box downstairs into the kitchen, but they're not connected to any outlets on either side. So these wires are not live, and an inspector is going to come early next week to give the thumbs up or thumbs down on this work, and then they will be connected to live voltage on both sides. So on this side we have a box that has a light switch for the under cabinet lighting on this side of the kitchen. It also will have an outlet, and we have 2 different gauges of electricity for the different kinds of light that we're going to be powering. Actually, mostly to do with the fuse that they're putting on the other end. Right here, we're going to have a 240 volt service for the induction cooktop. On the other side of the kitchen, we are going to have some GFCIs because this is the side where the sink is. So we're going to have GFCI here. The code says within 5 feet of a water source, and that's the sink here. And then we have a GFCI on this side. This will have a switch for the under cabinet lights and another plug here. This one is power for the refrigerator. In the ceiling, we're going to have 5 pot lights. We'll be using small puck lights for this. A pendant that's over the sink. The switch for these will be over here on the wall. This is a completely new box. The old box was over here, and we moved it because the refrigerator is going to be here and there's no room to get your hand in between the fridge and the box. So you would have to squish your hand in there. So that's why we moved it to over there. All of the existing lighting in the kitchen has been pulled. So I had to film this in daylight and bring in a little light of my own. They pulled quite a lot of the knob and tube, but there's still a little bit hanging around. A bit of a museum. We also had a couple of phone drops that were taken out. A stove on this side of the kitchen means we need to have a range hood. In order to have a range hood that we bent to the outside, we need to run a pipe through the ceiling of the kitchen to the other side. I want to show you something weird that was found in demolition. So each of these joists, the brown ones, runs across the span of the house from one side to the other. These are load bearing, and they sit on the brick. Now, what's weird is that every other one has been cut and a board has been put in to transfer the weight between them. So you see this one here has been cut. The board transfers the weight between them. Got another one here. The center one's been cut. Board transfers the weight between them. We don't have one on the end here. So what we have over here is that this joist had a cut made through it and this board was running in between. And so if we wanted to cut off that board, we had to find a way to transfer the weight and to support that. And so what the contractor did was sister this light colored beam next to the existing joist that would reinforce it, because we've removed that reinforcing piece, and that allows us to get to the outside. Why this was done, nobody can figure it out. It's also not a huge problem because it's just a bedroom above it. It's not supporting like a home gym or something like that. And so we're going to be able to live with this. The last thing is that, remember that old ventilator? So they've roughed in the removal of that. We still have some air gap around it, but that will be fixed when we put in the insulation, and it'll have this wood block shown on the outside, and this will be no more. So that's what we have for day 3 and 4 of the project, a Friday and a half day on Saturday. They'll be back on Monday and they'll continue with the work on the floor, and we'll see what else they get up to.